What's up, Broncos country? Guys, you won't believe what's happening right now with the Denver Broncos. While everyone's out there hyping up these Jacksonville Jaguars, we here at Mile High have a secret weapon that's going to explode this game on Sunday. And I'm not just talking about Bo Nix destroying veteran quarterbacks or Nick Bonito hunting like a hungry wolf. No, my friend. I'm talking about an advantage so absurd, so brutal, that the guys from Jacksonville don't even know what's going to hit them when they step on this field at 5,280 feet of altitude. And the best part, Vance Joseph just dropped a bomb at today's press conference that confirms everything I'm about to tell you. Stay with me until the end, because there's a detail about Sean Payton and our offense that will completely change your perspective on this matchup. Man, this lack of respect for the Denver Broncos is driving me completely insane. Seriously, we're here with a historic 12-2 record, the best campaign since 1998, leading the entire AFC, owners of the longest winning streak in the NFL right now, and there are still analysts out there picking the Jaguars as favorites? What the heck, man? Let me explain something to you. When I saw that Jacksonville fan on Twitter saying they're going to massacre the Denver Broncos, I almost spit out my coffee. Not because of his audacity, but because it immediately reminded me of that iconic scene from The Good Place. You guys remember? That die-hard Jaguars fan who dies and goes to heaven, and the first thing he asks the deity is, "Hey, did the Jaguars win the Super Bowl this year?" And the answer, "No, of course not." And the guy insists, "Okay, but will they ever win one?" And the deity, with that face of someone who knows everything about the future, responds, "Well, I can't predict the future, but no, they never win one." And that's exactly what defines Jacksonville, my friends. They simply cannot be put in the same category as the Denver Broncos. And yet, when you go look at the predictions from ESPN experts, from NFL Network, from everywhere, half these guys are saying the Broncos are going to lose this game at home. At home, people. At Mile High. Against a team that doesn't even know how to breathe properly at 5,280 feet of altitude. We started the week as favorites by only a point and a half. A point and a half. That number went up to 3. But it's still a joke. We're talking about the longest winning streak in the NFL. The longest home winning streak in the entire league since last season. 11 consecutive wins, man. 11. And people are betting against us. You know what kills me? It's seeing these content creators like Locked On Jaguars predicting that Jacksonville is going to come in and dominate the Denver Broncos. Man, they need to remember one thing. In the entire Bo Nix era, since he was drafted having never played in a professional offense until now, this kid has only taken one beating like that. One! And it was in an away game against the Baltimore Ravens that completely got out of control. It was when Nix threw that deflected pass off little Lil Jordan Humphrey, and everything changed. Since that day, Bo Nix has never let luck slip away from him again, and I guarantee you that's not going to start this week against the Jacksonville Jaguars. You're going to see them trying to convince themselves they actually have a chance. They're going to look at the field, feel that thin air entering their lungs, see Empower Field at Mile High packed with orange and blue, and they're going to realize, man, we shouldn't be here. And you know what lame excuse they came up with? Oh, get ready, because this is good. They think they have an advantage because the air at a mile-high altitude means the air inside the footballs will be more compressed, so Trevor Lawrence will be able to throw the ball farther. That's their advantage, not the defense, not the offense, not the momentum. No, the physics of footballs. Ask Jordan Love how it went trying to throw deep balls here last week. Go ahead, ask him. He tried a deep pass, knowing the target was Pat Surtain. And what happened? PS2 simply denied that play, intercepted it, and showed the whole world why he's a candidate for Defensive Player of the Year. It's simply unbelievable that Jacksonville thinks they have any real chance in this game. But this lack of respect continues week after week. Same old song and dance every week. The Eagles said it. We're going to destroy Bo Nix. The Jets, the Giants, all these teams, thinking they're all that. And the list goes on, man. All these teams firmly believing they have a chance against what Sean Payton and Bo Nix are building here in Denver. And now? Now we have Jacksonville coming in with that arrogance of someone who won a few games in a row and thinks they can come here and compete with one of the best defenses in recent NFL history. That's why we're at the top of the league's power rankings. That's why people who really understand football know that the Denver Broncos are different. Let me tell you a story that will make you understand what really matters in this sport. Puka Nacua, that monster wide receiver for the Rams, went on a live stream recently and ended up getting suspended for part of Thursday night's game because of it. But what did he say? He said that, in fact, the most overrated team in all of the NFL is the Jacksonville Jaguars. That's right. A guy who faces the best defenses every week, who studies film after film, said Jacksonville is pure hype. And it wasn't just him. Cam Akers, during his live stream that also caused controversy, picked the Broncos to win the Super Bowl. Like, people who really understand football know that the Denver Broncos are no joke. It's not luck. It's not just passing momentum. It's solid construction. It's winning culture. It's excellence in every detail. And I need you to pay attention to something. This is what opposing teams look like a week after we beat them. In fact, when we look at the results, we defeat them so humiliatingly that they're completely demoralized. Teams usually lose the week after playing us and take considerable time to recover, because it's exactly the opposite side of the team when they come to Denver especially, and realize they just messed with the Denver Broncos and discover firsthand what it really means to play against this machine. Sean Payton stated quite categorically, "We will no longer be underdogs from here on out." And Jacksonville Jaguars, listen closely to what I'm going to tell you. Don't fool yourselves thinking you have any chance in this game. It's a nice little play on your part to try to create this narrative, and I even like the confidence. But you're not good enough. Simple as that. Now let me show you some numbers that will destroy any argument the Jaguars might have. Justin Herbert is the most sacked quarterback in the league right now, sitting at the top of that sad list after losing practically his entire offensive line to injuries. You don't have to scroll much through the stats page to see that Trevor Lawrence is also one of the most sacked quarterbacks in recent football history. But now pay attention to this. You have to go to the bottom of the list to find Bo Nix as the least sacked quarterback in the NFL this season. There are several names below him technically, but none of them came close to playing a full season as a starter. All of them are players who missed a good part of the season due to injury. For example, Brock Purdy appears lower on the list, but he missed at least 6 games that season. We know Joe Burrow statistically has fewer sacks, but again, he was only a starter in a few games. And even looking at the guys above Bo Nix, those who are close to him in the stats still haven't played complete seasons as starters. Look at how many fewer sacks he took than Jaden Daniels, who hasn't even played a full season yet. We have to go all the way to Sam Darnold to find someone who really enters the discussion fairly. So we're literally talking about one of the most sacked quarterbacks in the NFL, going against one of the least sacked. And you know why? Because of our phenomenal offensive line and Bo Nix's ability to read the defense, move in the pocket, and make smart decisions. And our defensive line people, it's absolutely relentless. Nick Bonito has one of the highest quarterback pressure percentages in all of the NFL. And I think these numbers are even distorted downward because of all the away games we played at the beginning of this season. His numbers regarding quarterback pressure are going to continue to rise now that 2 of our last 3 games will be at home. And we know perfectly well that playing at home brutally favors the defense because the opposing offense needs to react at the exact moment of the snap, while our offensive line knows the perfect timing because they train here every day. So there's a huge advantage, number 1. But there's more, much more. You guys have Brian Thomas Jr., who's a completely crazy player, and a lot of people said you were going to trade him at the trade deadline. On the other side of the field, we have Courtland Sutton, who is leading the league in 3rd and 4th down receptions, and especially in crucial receptions for first downs. Why? Because Courtland Sutton is an absolutely exceptional player and you don't have anyone at the same level as him on your team. Nobody. And here's a detail that will make the Jaguars grind their teeth. Several of the guys you wanted in the draft, Sean Payton beat you in the competition and is going to make you bitterly regret not getting them. Liam Cohen, your offensive coordinator, loved Pat Bryant. He grew up in Jacksonville. Cohen wanted him desperately in the draft. But Sean Payton beat him in the competition and signed Pat Bryant, proving to the entire NFL that he wasn't just another forgettable sixth-round pick. R.J. Harvey, same story. Liam Cohen wanted this rookie running back with all his might. And unfortunately for him, fortunately for us here in Denver, we got those guys you wanted so badly. And they're shining in our system. R.J. Harvey has already shown he can be a complete three-down back, capable of receiving, blocking, and running with authority. And then people are trying to compare Trevor Lawrence to Bo Nix? Seriously? The J Villains podcast said it was disrespectful that Bo Nix won the FedEx Player of the Week award instead of Trevor Lawrence because Trevor Lawrence threw more touchdowns than Bo Nix that week. But let me show you the complete reality here. If you analyze all the relevant NFL categories right now, who's in the lead? Trevor Lawrence has fewer passing yards than Bo Nix. They have the same number of passing touchdowns, but Bo Nix has more rushing touchdowns than Trevor Lawrence. Bo Nix has 2 fewer interceptions than Trevor. You have 11, and Bo Nix has only 9. And Bo Nix has a higher QBR than you. He has 59, while Trevor Lawrence only has 51. So explain something to me. How is it that the second-year quarterback, who makes a fraction of what Trevor Lawrence makes with all that stylish long hair of his, is outperforming and playing better than Trevor in all measurable aspects? The NFL really showed this by giving that award to Bo Nix, proving that he objectively played better than Trevor last week. Because while Trevor faced the miserable Jets, the Denver Broncos faced a Super Bowl-worthy defense, the Green Bay Packers. And if you want to talk about who's really getting the worst of it, just look at your schedule. Oh yeah? Congratulations, you beat the Carolina Panthers. Wow, you lost to the Cincinnati Bengals. You lost to the Houston Texans once this year. But look here. You got crushed by the New Orleans Saints. You were massacred by the Seattle Seahawks. You had another humiliating loss to the Houston Texans in a rematch. You were completely destroyed by the Los Angeles Rams. Meanwhile, those were the only 2 games the Broncos lost in the entire season when there was literally 1 second left in the game. The Broncos were winning both games and lost on last-second field goals to the Indianapolis Colts when their team was still working well, and to the Los Angeles Chargers before they lost their entire offensive line to injuries. So don't take the brakes off me here. We have all the statistical advantages in this game. We have an absolutely insane atmosphere that you're going to discover soon, and that's what happens when you leave your little small market in Jacksonville and come play at Mile High, where all of Colorado, as Courtland Sutton said yesterday, is absolutely buzzing with anticipation. And now we get to the part I promised at the beginning, the secret weapon. The Denver Broncos injury reports are absolutely phenomenal. We made an interesting move here, releasing Calvin Throckmorton from our active 53-man roster, which allows us to activate Ben Powers still this week before the game against the Jaguars. Do you understand what this means? The Broncos are doing this because Bo Nix is already the least sacked quarterback in the NFL, even while technically being the 4th backup at the guard position because of the injuries we've had. And if you put this starter back on the offensive line, man, I honestly don't think the Jacksonville Jaguars will even touch Bo Nix this week, won't even have a chance. And this isn't a statistical anomaly or an opinion from a fan blinded by passion. It's simply what Bo Nix does. He's the least sacked quarterback in professional football. He has this innate ability to sense pressure, move in the pocket without panicking, and make the necessary throws even under pressure. Besides, aside from Justin Sternad, who's still recovering, all the other players we wanted to practice this week, were back at practice on Wednesday. R.J. Harvey is playing at a high level and is healthy. Pat Bryant is 100% and ready to show the coach who wanted him in Jacksonville why Sean Payton was smarter. And absolutely everything is phenomenal on our team. Now, much has been said about how our coaching staff could lose several players to other teams in the offseason. Obviously, there are those who say Davis Webb could get an offensive coordinator position elsewhere, given his exceptional work in Bo Nix's development. And others predict that Vance Joseph could end up accepting a head coach position on another team, which would automatically earn the Broncos 2 compensatory third-round picks. But here's the bomb that Vance Joseph dropped today. He came out publicly and said that the Denver Broncos have the best fans and the best owners in football, and that this is the best job in the entire league. So let's take it easy before calling Vance Joseph to be head coach somewhere else, because we saw what happened with Ben Johnson, didn't we? Ben Johnson left the Detroit Lions and went to the Chicago Bears recently. But the year before, he could have also left and gone elsewhere, making a lot of money with other teams, and he waited for the right position with the Bears. And I can perfectly imagine a scenario where the richest owner in sports, the Walton Penner Group, could invest heavily to make Vance Joseph the highest-paid defensive coordinator in history, and we repeat that next year. And I think that would be absolutely phenomenal, because this Broncos team is completely different from anything we've seen in recent years. You see it everywhere. From the team's wide receivers begging for the ball to our team celebrating effusively when a practice squad player scores his first touchdown. You have Michael Bandy saying, "Man, I was happier with his touchdown than with any of my own touchdowns." That's the culture that Sean Payton built here. And meanwhile, you see the Chicago Bears, even having mathematical chances to win the first position in the NFC, writing pathetic letters to all their fans and season ticket holders saying, "Hey, we'll probably move our stadium to another city. So soon we'll have the Indianapolis Bears," or something like that, while the Broncos' ownership group, which is at a much higher level of commitment and investment, continues building something special here in Denver. This is going to be a very fun game on Sunday, because I honestly think we're going to shut up the Jacksonville Jaguars real quick. And that's something we should all believe with absolute conviction. Jaguars, Oh, how cute. These cute little kittens from Jacksonville thinking they can come here to Mile High and compete with us. It's really adorable to see this innocence. But reality is going to knock on the door on Sunday at 2:05 p.m. Denver time, when they step on that field and feel 70,000 fans screaming against them, while they desperately try to breathe in this thin air they're not used to. The altitude advantage is real, folks. It's not a myth. It's not an urban legend. It's pure and simple science. Studies show that teams visiting Denver lose an average of 3% of their aerobic capacity. It might not seem like much, but in the fourth quarter, when Jacksonville is gasping, trying to keep up the pace, while our guys are fresh because they train in this every single day, you'll see the difference. And there's another crucial detail. This game is worth much more to us than to them. Jacksonville is fighting for playoffs, yes, but Denver is fighting for the number 1 seed in the AFC. We're talking about home field advantage throughout all the playoffs. We're talking about all playoff games being here at Mile High, where we're practically invincible. We're talking about a direct route to the Super Bowl. Do you think this team is going to let Jacksonville mess that up? Do you think Sean Payton, who's already won a Super Bowl and knows exactly what it takes, is going to let this game slip away? Do you think Bo Nix, who's on a historic journey toward the Offensive Rookie of the Year award, is going to stumble now? No way, man. No way. And here's another exclusive piece of information that few are talking about. The Denver Broncos have the most suffocating red zone defense in all of the NFL. Against the Packers last week, we stopped drives that could have resulted in Packers touchdowns on 4 different occasions, limiting them to just field goals. That means the team avoided 16 additional points that would have been scored if they all ended in touchdowns with successful Pats. It's a massive game changer. This season, the Broncos have allowed opponents to score only 22 touchdowns while forcing 32 field goals. Like all teams, we're susceptible to long touchdown passes in open field or explosive runs. But when opposing teams get to the red zone, they face a challenge that no other team in the NFL can impose besides the Broncos. It's an impenetrable wall. Pat Surtain, too, is having a historic season and is a legitimate DPOY candidate. Nick Bonitto is destroying quarterbacks at a pace we only see from established All-Pros. Zach Allen is having the best season of his career, and our defensive front as a whole, it's simply terrifying. Trevor Lawrence is going to discover this the hard way on Sunday. He's going to feel the pressure coming from all angles. He's going to see Pat Surtain, too, covering Brian Thomas Jr. like a shadow. He's going to try to find Travis Etienne Jr. with short passes and see Alex Singleton and Cody Barton closing routes before the ball even gets there. It's going to be a defensive clinic. And on offense? Man, Courtland Sutton deserves a chapter of his own in this story. This man is having one of the best seasons of his career at an absolutely crucial moment. He's leading the league in third down receptions. He's making impossible catches look routine. He's being the perfect safety valve for Bo Nix in pressure moments. Last week against the Packers, when the game was tied and we desperately needed a first down, who did Bo Nix look for? Courtland Sutton. And what did Courtland do? Made an absurd catch in double coverage to move the chains and keep the drive alive. That's what I'm talking about when I say this team has clutch players in clutch moments. And Marvin Mims Jr., this kid is pure danger every time he touches the ball. He was selected to the Pro Bowl as a return specialist, and it's no wonder. He's capable of turning any punt return into 6 points. He's that type of player who completely changes field position and gives instant momentum to the team. Jacksonville's going to have to kick away from him the entire game, which automatically gives us favorable field position. And then there's R.J. Harvey, who's getting more and more comfortable as a 3-down back. He can run between the tackles with power. He can catch passes in the backfield. He can block in protection situations. He's exactly the type of versatile running back you need to have in playoff games, and he's reaching peak form at the perfect moment of the season. Sean Payton is putting together an offense that simply has no weaknesses. You want to double cover Courtland Sutton? Fine, Marvin Mims Jr. will burn you on the other side. You want to put 8 defenders in the box to stop the run game? Cool. Bo Nix will distribute 300-plus yards through the air like he did against the Packers. You want to blitz aggressively? Perfect. Bo will read it pre-snap and throw hot routes that will result in big plays. There's no way to stop this offense. It's pick your poison. And Jacksonville doesn't have the defense necessary to contain all of this for 4 complete quarters at altitude. So when you put it all together, the suffocating defense, the multifaceted offense, the home field advantage, the altitude, the momentum of 11 straight wins, the motivation to secure the number 1 seed, the winning culture that Sean Payton established, Bo Nix's meteoric development, the roster health at the right time, you have the perfect recipe for a dominant victory on Sunday. Jacksonville Jaguars are going to come in thinking they have a chance because they won a few games recently. They're going to have that confidence of a young team that hasn't taken a real punch in the mouth this season. But man, when they feel that Empower Field at mile-high atmosphere, when they try to yell out plays and can't hear themselves because of the deafening crowd noise, when they look across and see Pat Surtain, too, and Nick Bonitto and Zach Allen staring back with that hungry predator look, they're going to know. They're going to know they shouldn't have come here. They're going to know they underestimated the Denver Broncos. They're going to know that all that social media talk about massacring Denver was pure delusion. And when the game ends and they're flying back to Jacksonville with that painful loss on their record, they're going to spend the whole next week reliving that moment and wondering, how were we so naive to think we could compete with that? Because at the end of the day, these 2024-2025 Denver Broncos aren't just a good team. They're not just a playoff team, they're a special team. They're a team that has the mentality, the talent, the leadership, and the destiny aligned to do something big this year. They're a team that goes to bed every day thinking about the Super Bowl and wakes up every day working to get there. And Jacksonville? Jacksonville is just another obstacle in the way, an obstacle that's going to be removed with brutal efficiency on Sunday afternoon. So fire up the grill, call your friends, put on your orange and blue jersey, and get ready to watch the Denver Broncos do what they do best: dominate at home and make it clear to the entire NFL that we're no longer underdogs. We're predators. And Sunday at Mile High, the Jaguars are going to become prey. So tell me here in the comments, how much do you think the Broncos are going to win by? I'm betting on 27-17 for the Broncos, with Bo Nix playing clean, 2 sacks from Nick Bonitto, and Pat Certain, too, getting at least 1 interception. But I want to know your prediction. And if you're Broncos country for real, subscribe to the channel right now. Turn on notifications, leave your like because it helps a lot with the algorithm to show our content to more diehard fans like you. Share this video with that friend of yours who's still doubting the Broncos. Show them why Sunday is going to be historic. And don't forget, there's a detail about Sean Payton and how he's planning to use R.J. Harvey in a completely different way in the second half. That could be the key to blowing the game wide open. But that I'm going to reveal in the next video that comes out tomorrow. So keep your eyes open, subscribe, and don't miss it. Broncos country, let's ride.